question is that the motion be agreed to, and I give the call to the member for Monash.
I thank the member for Werriwa for her outline of a great changing time in Australia when the Whitlam government was elected after many years of Conservative governments. But there's always more to the story. And I've never put this on record, but today is the day that I want to put it on record. At that time, when the Whitlam government was elected, I would just open my first retail store that sold fabrics and knitting wool, and also I was the lead singer, manager, owner of a band called the Trutones. And we were asked to do Billy McMahon through Barry Simon, I was close to at the time, who lived in my district. He was a member for McMillan. And he said, would you come along and do this, be the entertainment for Billy McMahon at the Malvern Town Hall? Yes, I will, of course I will. And we went along and we did that, and we saw all the ministers. It was my first exposure to politics, and I think actually John Howard was actually standing beside Billy, moving the speech as he went through. And this is all new for me, but a few weeks later, after the election, we were the house band at the new Palais, and we were there when Gough and Margaret walked into the victory celebration in Melbourne. But there was an issue. There's always more to the story. One of the fabrics in my store was a beautiful seersucker, tartan, hot pink and lime check material. Beautiful at the time. And I noticed this fabric in my shop and I said, right, I'll go to my dressmaker and I'll make an outfit for the whole band, which we did. And it was fantastic. We had the bow tie, we had the pink trousers, we had the pink shirt, and we had the seersucker jacket, we had the great high heel boots. I think they were white or pink, I'm not sure what colour they were. But no, I haven't. They go off to parties with my sons and never come home. So here we are, and Gough's about, and we've got our outfits on, and Gough and Margaret are about to walk in the room. One big problem. Margaret Whitlam walks in and her long frock is made out of the material that I'm wearing. So I said to the boys one by one, you stop playing now, and you take your jacket off, then you take your jacket off, then you take your jacket off, and then you take your jacket off. Now, we weren't the only ones, because there was a woman in the audience, and there's 700 people there. I mean, it's huge. There's a woman in the audience. She's standing there, and she's made herself a dress too, and she's looked at Margaret Whitlam, and Margaret Whitlam's looked at her, and she's gone straight out the back door, obviously, to go home and change her clothes, so Margaret had this one on. I want to say to you, look, Gough Whitlam was really good to me as an unknown, for my opinion, unknown backbencher. He actually knew all of us. And I walked into Parliament one day and there was a major function on, and Gough and Margaret were walking beside Bromley and I. And we got ourselves sort of in the wrong place for the official things to come through. And Gough says to me, an unknown, he says, Russell, come over here, stand beside me, you won't be noticed. It's all right. Which, of course, we were, in the absolute spotlight of that function. He was so genuine and generous to people around him. He knew them. He actually cared what they thought, and took a real interest in this parliament long after his days as Prime Minister of this country. And I can only honour that. Margaret was always so kind to us as well. These were people that really had, whatever people want to paint that particular government and the chaos that went on in those times was probably reflective of the Australian community and where we were at. But as far as the man went and the woman went, such generosity and such wisdom and such knowledge. He may have been let down by a few of his own, but it wasn't of his own making. It wasn't of his own making. I'll repeat that again. This man stood tall, and like very few in the Parliament, Deputy Speaker, he commanded the Parliament, as Menzies had commanded the Parliament. And so did, in more recent times, Paul Keating, and perhaps John Howard with his comfort in the Parliament, knowing the Parliament. There's very few people that come into this house, and I'm getting the library to check how many have gone out of the house since I arrived, and it's a great number of members have left this house, the lower house, since that time. But that was it. The theme was, it's time, and for Australia it was time. We did change, and the ramifications of that government still continuing today into the policies and the actions of governments of today. And I thank you for the opportunity to share that story with you.